Hi, I'm Jonathan Herbst, founder and CEO of Scale Up Growth Partners. Welcome to our Stories of Scaling Up, series where we chat with owners, managing directors, founders and business leaders of scaling companies. It centres around their entrepreneurial journey so far and their aspirations for their companies. Today we're speaking with Niki Skontos. I've got this, the pronunciation right, who's CEO of eCom Logistics. And welcome to our Stories of Scaling Up.
Thank you very much, Jonathan.
Great. So listen, let's just jump straight in. Tell me, what do you do and what does the company do?
Sure. So eCom Logistics is essentially a fulfillment provider. Started off as a fulfillment provider for online stores. Since then, we've expanded our logistical offerings and services to our customers to provide an end-to-end supply chain and logistics service. And that was purely on the back end of existing fulfillment customers asking us to provide freight forwarding, provide cartage, do other ad hoc and value-add services within the supply chain and logistics field. So then we've been able to scale and grow with our customers and provide that end-to-end supply chain and logistics solution. We still outsource, of course, the last mile to Australia Post and those providers. But essentially anything from supplier, manufacturer, right through to the consumer is what we manage.
Great. So how long has the company been running and have you been doing this?
So I started eCom Logistics is exactly in about a month, will be 5 years ago. And that was on the back end of my long career in supply chain and logistics. Myself, working for multi-global companies, traveling a lot. I was in started off as in operations, business development roles, solution design. And then it just came to, I came to a point where I saw the growth of e-commerce and wanted to actually take my knowledge to one level, to the next level, I guess, and do something a little bit different and to meet the demand of the market. And so I started eCom Logistics. So essentially I gave up the suit and the high heels and the nice cars for a forklift license, still kept boots and my high vis. And I just started myself with word of mouth, old contacts or people that I just knew in the industry. And from one customer, it just led to many customers. Expanding the business, hiring staff, moving away from the operational side and purely now in the sales and marketing side, getting married, having 2 babies. So it's been a lot in 5 years.
Congratulations. What are you planning to celebrate the 5-year anniversary?
Oh my gosh, I am so happy and so thrilled to be an entrepreneur and a CEO because there've been actual life lessons in business that you can't learn from a textbook. It's great to read. I love to read more blogs and watching videos of things. But, once you actually become a business owner, everything goes in practice and things pop up along the way that you don't expect. So you have to pivot and change things like, for example, COVID or staffing or being able to set something up and know that you've done it yourself, pass it over to the team, and now you're working on a different higher level project. And that's what thrills me and excites me because I'm starting now to get back into the groove of where I was as a business development manager working for other businesses, but now doing it on a different level in my way for myself. So the clients that started with us and still work with us, customers are the best gift ever. We work together, we've grown together, and now we're at the 5-year mark where it's so exciting, okay, I can't exactly go out in the city and have a few drinks yet because I've got a newborn, but as a team, we will celebrate on this journey that we've been on, my barbecue and share our journey with our team. So and our customers, of course.
I asked you that for a particular reason. I had a client who I had a client because my clients stay with me for 2 to 3 years and majority graduate, if that makes sense. But when my first meeting with the client, very, very successful business. They'd grown from a garage to 500 staff in 8 years. And I said with the two founders, I said to them, 8 years, what did you do for the party? And they both had this blank look on their face. And I said, and look, this is a big business. And they had not had a celebration at any time through that 8-year growth. And they just raised $125 million in venture capital money. And I said, one of the things you've got to do, guys, is actually stop and smell the roses a bit, appreciate where you've come from and also appreciate your team and also appreciate your customers. So, long story short, the first thing I did was sit with their PA and we organised an 8-year party based on it was a food company, the first delivery, 8 years from the first delivery that was ever made. And I was thrilled to see they just had their ninth year party about a week. Because celebrating what you've achieved is so important, but not only for you, but for the team, and as you say, for your customers.
Yeah, look, we are a family-owned and run business. So my husband runs the operational side of the business, the warehouse operations. He's ex-Telstra corporate for 15 years, managing, big clients within the Telstra space. So he's come out of there and now joined the business. Got his, had to learn the forklift and operation and WMS, warehouse management systems and things like that. And it's been a godsend because he's like another me in the business, and we'll be able to work together from an operational and a sales and marketing levels. And my husband loves his Greek food, loves the meat. So every couple of weeks, whenever he has a chance, he's putting on those barbecues in the warehouse for the staff. We make the staff like family, because at the end of the day, if we didn't have them, the business wouldn't be able to operate and our customers wouldn't be able to be looked after. Because our customers, and I got goosebumps now saying that, our customers are an extension, or we are an extension to our customers' business. So, they have the brand, they have the design, the marketing, they're doing all the hard work to sell their products. And it's our job to make sure that their customers are satisfied when they receive their parcels. They have that wow factor. So we are that backbone to our customers' business. It's very important that our staff understand and live this journey with us and our customers. So we celebrate all the time.
Oh, good. Tell me, who would you describe as your core customer, your best customer?
Okay. We love all our customers. Okay. I must say,
that's not the question. Yeah, if someone was looking at this, who had an e-commerce site, describe to me the best customer for you.
Yeah, our perfect customer, there is, of course, different certain types of commodities that we like to work with. And our niche commodity and the best commodity for us is fast-moving consumer goods, fast-moving retail products, things that you'd buy in a shopping center, in a retail store. So, things like, furniture is bulky and a bit challenging for us, but we like the smaller items. Could be apparel, footwear, stationery, toys, things that are small and fast moving.
Okay. Do you do subscription as well? I mean, one of the things my wife freaked out a couple of months ago when I got Amazon to start delivering toilet paper every month, as an example. Is it one-off, or is it subscription as well, or is that up to your client to define that?
Yeah, it's up to our clients. So the great thing is our clients started themselves, either came to us because they outgrew their garage or their storage space, or they were working with another 3PL and they switched over. And they would, because they were also in the infancy of their businesses, they will start off as selling on their website. Since then, since working with us, they've been able to offload all that operational and manual side of their business, which is about 40 to 45% of their time. And they've been able to expand omni-channel. They've gone to market online and offline marketplaces. They've gone to business to business selling to retail stores. They've been able to expand overseas to other department stores in the US and the UK. So it's really given them a platform to outsourcing the physical side of their business to expand their business. So then, they've gone from B2C to B2B to, the Iconics, the David Jones Myers, and similarly overseas. And then some of them have got subscriptions, yes, but they've been able to expand not just the B2C portion, and that's the beauty of growing together.
Great. So we've all been through the pandemic. I know you're working from home today. What are some things you implemented into the business during the pandemic that you've kept in the business going forward?
It was a very challenging time for us. Luckily, we have been able to operate as an essential service, and very lucky. And we had to implement safety precautions in the business to ensure everybody was safe. The mask, the sanitizing, the distance. So we had to. The distance was probably the hardest thing. Because we had to set up, extra packing spaces. So staff is kept at that safe distance, I guess I should say. But we had, the mask and the sanitizing going on, and if people were unwell, they would just stay at home until they got better. But as essentially from an operational point of view, not a lot has changed. We just had to put a few safety measures in place. Of course, the scanning in and out of the QR code, can't forget that as well. Yeah.
Yes. So what's the future look like? And what do you see as the main challenges going forward?
Some of the challenges. So the retail, e-commerce is changing. Digital is moving forward very fast. And we find especially special launches and special events during the year, they take off really, really fast, and you don't expect it in some situations. So we have some customers that have great products but may not do a lot of marketing, and all of a sudden they're just booming. And some of the challenges we face from an operational point of view is staffing, to make sure that we have enough staff when these unexpected growth take part. So we do the best that we can and have the staff that we have to have extra staff on board to manage the influx of orders. But with the pandemic and extra precautions, when someone's sick, they have to stay home. So it's a last minute thing. So we'll find out at 5:30 in the morning, sorry, can't come in today.
Yeah.
So that's one person less. So you're trying to find another person to cover in order to be able to maintain the level for the customer. I think that's probably been the biggest challenge, I'd say, post pandemic.
Okay. And tell me, as a business owner, an entrepreneur, what do you think is your biggest learning since starting the company?
Oh, so many. But the biggest learning, and I say it to everybody now, whoever tells me I want to start a business, I'll say, yes, great, go for it. But so this is my learning, is to have everything set up before you start or when you start. Have everything set up. Don't say, I'll cross that bridge when I get there. I'll put this I'll put this process in place. No, because it's going to happen. So you might as well do it from the beginning when it's nice and fresh, and there's less work to do. So if all your contracts are in place, all the finances, the back end of the finance, the back end of the operations, HR, everything is set up, ready for when your business needs it. Because when you're trying to implement things and then the business is already taken off, it's harder to backtrack. That's my biggest lesson.
It's an interesting one. It's that, do you just get into it, or do you, one of the issues, the good body of research that I use that come out of the States, from a guy called Scott Tannis, who had sold an insurance company, Western Insurance, for about $600 million going back in 2012. And he did some research about what he called the valleys of death. And the stats work across the board in Europe, US, Mexico, and Australia, that you've got these plateaus and then these valleys,
yes.
plateau, valley, plateau. And so only 4% of companies get over $1 million in revenue, as an example. Only 0.4% of companies get over, I think it's, from memory, $4 million of revenue. Now, if you think about it, 0.4 is a very small number. And that the first valley of death they've got to get over is hiring the operations director, operations manager, getting a 2IC, starting to put those processes and systems in place. My business, I'm the CEO as well, is growing. If I could show you the screen here, I'm rebuilding our dashboards as we speak right now. We're in the process of documenting every process known to man in our business so that we can scale and grow the business. But I agree with you, but there's so much to do before you start.
There is so much. Yeah. There is so much to do, but I feel like there is, and as a first-time business owner specifically, it's like, for me, I'm referring it to as like a baby, because when I had my first baby, I thought I just needed 4 or 5 things. And then every week I'm getting something else, and then another thing. I'm like, what the hell is this? What is this? I have to learn about this. So it's the same thing in the business. When you're a first-time business owner, there's a lot of pivoting and new directions that the business is taking that you have to constantly learn. But when you starting another second business and so forth, or getting involved as an advisor in other businesses that I have, and then it's like it just happens because it just becomes second nature. But as a first-time business, there's a lot of research and things that
absolutely
and processes in place from the beginning. It's fun, it's exciting, but business never sleeps. That's number one thing when you're a business owner. It's always your brain is always ticking, even 11 o'clock at night when you're trying to sleep.
No. I mean, it's an interesting thing being partnered with your husband. My wife would never come into my business. I'm sure she'd think she'd end up killing me. Hey, listen,
I don't know. Maybe he regrets it now. I don't know. Maybe he preferred the Telstra than working in the warehouse. But
tell me, so when you think of the word successful, who's the first person that comes to mind and why?
Success to me is somebody that has an idea, learned it themselves, and started it all themselves. That's success to me, because they have the drive and the motivation to do something about it. Like, it may take a while, it may be quick, but they've actually became successful on their own terms, on their own. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
So
is there anybody that sounds out to you as a role model in that?
I do actually. It's a family member, actually, my brother.
Yeah.
He has a very successful gym apparel and supplement brand, and actually I'm not even wearing his jumper. I just realized. And we grew up together. We're 1 year apart. Like, we did everything together as kids, and just knowing where we were, where we grew up from, our upbringing, and that simple idea that he had, and he's just, he made it work. He worked hard, and he got in there. So, I'm proud of him, and I know it's successful because, we've lived overseas in different countries, and we didn't have a lot of things growing up. So just knowing people out there that are actually becoming successful from not having successful backgrounds, that's successful to me.
Fabulous. He'll love to hear that when he listens to this. So, are you a reader? Do you have any books, blogs, audiobooks, biographies of leaders you'd recommend?
I did before kids. I was reading a lot. I love books and I love watching videos. For me personally, watching, like, if I want to learn something, or I'll watch a video on it or a documentary, or I'm a visual person. So when I'm watching it on YouTube or somewhere, it resonates with me a lot faster. And but the last 3 years has been kid after kid, and it's been nonstop. So every time I even start a podcast that I'd see on an entrepreneur platform somewhere, I start listening and then stop, because having newborns and toddlers is it's a bit like that. That's life. So
I have two 8-year-olds. It doesn't get any better.
Yeah.
I mean, fabulous, great pleasure, but it never stops. Yeah.
It never stops. So at the moment, I haven't been able to get my head around anything consistent, to be honest, which I need to get back.
And of course, that's the aim of this series of questions. 15-minute, bite-sized chunks with the CEOs. Niki, last question. Any last piece of advice or parting words for CEOs or aspiring CEOs?
Having mentors and watching people that you look up to. It doesn't have to be in the same industry. People that are aspiring people is always important to be around. And it might not be people, within your immediate circle. It can be people on social media or LinkedIn or people that are providing the advice, because the more that you hear it and the more you're around it, the more it starts to sink in. So although as a mom with a newborn and a toddler, my time is limited. I don't have the hands to be able to just go and do something and grab it as a mom. So by listening to it and being around it, or thinking through social media, it's building up this portfolio in my head of something that I want to do once I'm ready. So being around and talking about it is also important, because it just sinks in better. So as an entrepreneur, a CEO, the more you're around it, the more you study it, the more you listen to it, it starts becoming you. So the more you start practicing it, and the quicker that you can implement some of those learnings into yourself and your business to help it scale and grow. So that's really important to me. I mean, look, I love watching clothing brands and on social media. Don't get me wrong, but I always love watching a reel or a video, of something aspiring.
I wrote a blog a while ago about my virtual mentors. People like Vern Harnish, people like Peter Diamandis from Abundance 360 in the US, people like Cameron Herold, the names you may not know. But, I have this virtual group of, and particularly with COVID that I haven't been able to travel. I've got these virtual mentors that I follow, and I read snippets and snapshots, and I learn something every time one of the blogs come in. And that's actually what this whole series is about, building a virtual mentor base. So
exactly, yeah.
Niki, that was fabulous. I loved our conversation.
Thank you very much. It's always nice to talk about business and growth, and because it's personal growth as well as business growth, and be able to pass those key learnings down into the team, and have this great morale of like-minded people.
That's great. Thank you.